Welcome to Science Store online classes.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Welcome all of you to the physics classes. So in today's class we are going to talk about some of the neat topics of atom, chapter atom. So basically I am going to tell you here what it is based on the NCERT syllabus, whatever the extra formulations or extra things whatever we have to study, that we will discuss. As we have seen orderly in the case of atoms chapter, in the same way we will discuss. So what we have seen in the case of atom chapter in the NCERT syllabus. First we will see that maybe the J.J. Thomson's model as well as Rutherford model. So nothing about much we are going to talk about J.J. Thomson model because it was a failure. And after that Rutherford did the experiment. The students of Rutherford did the experiment, okay, and so that he found that whatever the assumption given by the Thomson were wrong, and he gave based on his assumption, based on his experiment, some of the assumptions or some of the formulations he gave. And what he did, that is nothing but Rutherford's alpha scattering experiment he did. That is nothing but alpha rays are made to scatter through the gold foil. Now gold foil is having number of atoms, and why this experiment is conducted? It is only because to find out what is the structure of atom, because that was a mystery. That time there is the negative charge that was known, positive charge it was known, but the character of atom, how it is, the physics of the atom, that is how it is, what is the size, what is the shape of that, what is the weight, mass, all those things, what actually it consists, those were the question. And so thin sheet we can form, only gold we can make it as a thin sheet, that is why thin sheet of gold foil is done and alpha scattering took place. So what was done? Some of the alpha particles were coming back with 180 degree and some of the alpha particles were undeviated, some of the alpha particles were deviated in a little less angle, like that. Based on all those things, this thing that is important, that is only out of 8,000 particles if you have made, only 1 or 2 particles were exactly coming back with its in the same straight line whatever they have gone. Now alpha particle is a positive charge, and Rutherford Thomson said that every atom is nothing but every particle, that is atom matter is consist of positive charge is distributed throughout that. If it was the case, whatever the alpha particle goes, all particles should have to come because they will repel, right? But what happened? It was not the thing whatever happened in this case of the experiment. So the thing is, in the experiment most of the atoms, all alpha particle was passing through it. Means that time Rutherford told that, and he gave the explanation for this, that is nothing but the positive charge is concentrated at the center of the atom, and since atom O as a whole as a neutral, that is why negative charge were already was there found at that time, and negative charges were surrounding that. So atom totally neutral they found, and so that he gave 2 explanations, one is for impact parameter, another one is for the radius of the closest approach. Radius of the closest approach is nothing but the distance between them. Now atom is there, that is atom of gold. Now alpha particle is, that is nothing but positive charge, it will come nearer, but what happens again, this is having a positive charge, this is having a positive charge, so repulsion takes place. So if it is a straight line it comes, and straight line comes back means because of repulsion, this is the closest approach. Again close it won't go because the potential energy, the electrostatic potential energy of this becomes equal to the kinetic energy of that alpha particle. So that the closest approach we can give it as 2ze square. Why it is 2ze square? Z times E, that is E is the charge of the proton, Z times E, that is atomic number times into E, okay, divided by, we have 4 pi epsilon naught and kinetic energy K. This is a formula, you have to know, that's all. So general direct in the conceptual questions they may ask this formula, or else they may ask that by giving the kinetic energy concept you may have to solve this problem. It is a simple, okay. Next we will talk about impact parameter. Impact parameter, say for example, whatever the particle, alpha particle, say for example, come from this side, so it is small, so it may go undeviated, and if it is come here means it may go like this. Now this is the velocity vector actually, that is the velocity vector of the alpha particle. From this perpendicular distance, what is that? The perpendicular distance is nothing but beta, b, that is nothing but impact parameter. So that is b is equal to z e square cos theta by 2. What is cos theta? Theta is nothing but that is the angle of scattering angle, and here you will get 4 pi epsilon naught kinetic energy. This is what impact parameter, and based on the impact parameter you can say that what is the deviation, and whether what is the deviation you can say. So impact parameter is inversely proportional, right? Impact parameter is more, the distance is large means it is not at all deviating. Distance is less means deviating more and more, and impact parameter is 0 means it directly hits the nucleus and comes back. The concept of nucleus is given by whom? It is Rutherford. Why? Because positive charge is concentrated at the center, he said, because from his experiments. That experiment is not done by Rutherford, based on the instruction given by the Rutherford, his students did the experiment, okay. That is called Geiger-Marsden experiment, okay. So in the competitive exams they directly won't ask alpha scattering experiment and all, okay. They will give the name of Geiger-Marsden experiment, all those things, okay. Those are the conceptual questions you may expect here, and nothing much in this Rutherford alpha scattering experiments, okay. The most of the concepts. Now next comes, that is nothing but Bohr's atom model, which was made revolution while finding the character, I can say, or finding the shape or size or the physics of the atom. Because mathematically Bohr did most of the explanation, because mathematically any of the value you are going to get means it is perfect. Mathematically we have to get the values, right? And he gave maybe for the radius, maybe for the total energy, maybe for the time period, frequency, all those things he gave the exact values or exact clarification. But why Bohr brought that concept? Why Bohr gave his new atomic model? What was the failures of the Rutherford? That based on that conceptual questions may come. What was the failures? Because already we have discussed in our regular classes, so just I will repeat, that's all. The failures of the Rutherford alpha scattering experiment, that is it is the failed to explain stability of the atom, all those things, right? Because if it is found that electromagnetic spectrum, that is a line spectrum, it is not a continuous spectrum, but according to Rutherford it was a continuous spectrum because of theory. But whatever the theory it is given, whatever the practical we can see, that was not matching. That's why Rutherford atomic model was a failure. After that Bohr's atomic model comes, and he found that is a very important concept, very important concept he gave, that is nothing but about angular momentum. Definitely the positive charge is concentrated at the center and negatively charged electrons were revolving around the nucleus in the circular orbits. While revolving around the circular orbit, they are not going to lose any energy. That was Bohr's assumption. And after that, what is the momentum? See, if any object is moving around any of the center, means it is having an angular momentum. It is having a velocity and angular momentum. And what was that angular momentum? L. What is that angular momentum expression? mvr. What is that? N time h by 2 pi, where h is called Planck's constant. And it is called quantization of angular momentum. Quantization of charge we know, right? Quantization of charge we know, that is nothing but every charge which you are going to get in the nature, which is nothing but the multiple of charge of the electronic charge. But again, the less charges are also there, but generally whatever we are going to get, there is nothing but the multiple of electronic charge. Similarly, the angular momentum for all this orbit is the multiple of h by 2 pi. That was the first concept which is brought by Niels Bohr, and he gave the expression so that electrons, when they are going to revolve in the stationary orbit, they does not going to lose or emit any of the energy. There must be a absorption of energy, there must be a emission of energy. Absorption means absorption spectrum we are going to call, emission means emission spectrum we are going to call. When it is going to become absorption, when it is going to become emission, that is absorption means what? When it is going to say absorption means it will take energy from the outside and takes energy and goes back. That is absorption spectrum. When it goes to the higher state, it will emit some radiation. Okay, and if say for example it is coming back to that state, it will emit radiation. Okay, like that, absorption and emission spectrum. Okay, these are the things. That is nothing but about Bohr's atomic model. There are 2 to 3 things we have to study. One is the radius of the atomic model. What is the expression for the radius of the given by Niels Bohr? The radius expression we should know. That is nothing but Rn. For any of the nth orbit, the radius expression is n square h square epsilon naught divided by z e square m pi. But for hydrogen, the model is only for hydrogen because it is failed to for all the atoms. You consider this model for z is equal to 1, it will be going to valid, and if it is more than z is equal to 2, no, it is not going to valid. Because, and later what happened, uncertainty principle came, and when the uncertainty principle came, what happened is the Bohr model was not at all aligning or giving the result for the uncertainty principle, so that Bohr's model was a failure actually. But it gave some of the data. Though it is a failure, it gave the data. Though it is completely, it didn't define completely the atom, but it is given lot of information. So it became helpful to bring a new model, that is quantum mechanic model. That we are not going to study here. Okay, but this is the elaborate model or extended model, that is which one, quantum model of this Bohr's atomic model. Now this is what for hydrogen. See, already nuclei is there, electron is revolving in this case, electrons are revolving in this case. We will take n is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, n is equal to 3, n is equal to 4 for this. Now n is equal to 1 because hydrogen is having only 1 electron. Okay, n is equal to 1 and z is also 1. So Rn, what you are going to get, h square epsilon naught square, z is 1, e square, m and pi. What is your mass of the electron? This is for electron. Okay, this is for electron. This. Now this is very, very important for you. That is called Bohr radius. And what is the expression for the Bohr radius? And if you do all those things, you are going to get the answer as 0.53 angstrom. So this you have to remember for the competitive exams. This you have to remember because they will give directly Bohr radius or directly expressions they have to give. Okay, that time directly when you apply for the numerical sums means this you have to remember. As well as what happens is this is, that is Rn is, which one is variable? Okay, z is 1. It is directly proportional, Rn is directly proportional to n square and inversely proportional to z, I can say like that. Or it just we are going to write down Rn is directly proportional to n square. The radius of the nth orbit is directly proportional to n square, which is very important. Based on this, they are going to ask the questions. Okay, the relation of n square. Next, what we will study, since electrons are moving, when electrons are moving in the orbit, it is having a velocity. There is a velocity for the nth orbit, right? So what is the expression for velocity of the nth orbit? We have, that is nothing but z e square divided by 2n and epsilon naught h. Again what happens, same way we are going to talk, Vn is inversely proportional to n, as we have written for the radius n square. Based on that you will get the conceptual question. And similarly, you are going to get the questions for V is equal to inversely proportional to N. Okay. So again, if you apply for this, that is Z is equal to 1, N is equal to 1, you are going to get velocity as that is nothing but V is equal to 1 E square divided by 2 epsilon naught H. Can you calculate this? Can you calculate what is the value you are going to get? Yes, these are all the constants. So you are going to get Vn is equal to 2.18 into 10 to the power 6, 2.18 into 10 to the power 6 divided by N meter per second. Now for any of the value you can use this. For any of the value, maybe second order, third order, fourth order, whatever the electron you have, for you can use this. So this expression is also you have to remember. Don't by heart it. Just whenever solve the problems in the atoms chapter, then you will understand or you will get to know this is the constant. So many constants are there in the case of chapter atom. If you consider, means some constants are there, maybe Bohr radius, maybe velocity of the initial atom and all. So that you have to remember. Once, twice, thrice or 4 times if you practice, means automatically you will get to know and you will remember these things. Okay. And may not be all the time these questions or this constant will be used for the all the numerical sums, but some of the other case, maybe the cases you have to understand and remember these constants. Okay. And mainly for hydrogen atom only we are going to talk here. One hydrogen atom only that experiment is done. So only it is utilized for hydrogen atom and nothing else. Okay. So that is the case. Now again, based on this we can give different expressions. Okay. So we were talking about velocity expression as well as radius expression. Now electron is revolving, it's its angular velocity also. What is the expression for angular velocity? V is equal to r omega. Now angular velocity of any of the electron which is moving around the nucleus, that is nothing but I can write down omega n, which is equal to Vn divided by Rn. Now Vn is there along, I have given the expression, Rn is there, find out the value for that. How it would be? So what the value you are going to get? So omega n you are going to get it as z square e to the power 4 and pi m divided by 2 n cube h cube and epsilon naught square. So now the question is whether I have to remember this formula or not, isn't it? So already you have remembered this formula, right? So this you can do it easily, isn't it? And all those constants. So what actually we are concentrated on this is, that is whether it is directly proportional to n or not, or inversely proportional to n or not, or what is the frequency, what is the power, based on what power that is directly proportional, inversely proportional, like that it is, and z square on what power it is directly proportional to z or not, that we are actually interested. So generally we are going to get that angular velocity is 4.459 into 10 to the power 16 divided by n cube, because all are constant for hydrogen. Everything is hydrogen and nothing for other hobbies you are going to get. Everything is for hydrogen. Okay. Yes. This is the value. This is the value you are going to get. And what is the SI unit of omega? That is angular velocity, radian per second, This is the thing, and this is what given by Niels Bohr. Now next, omega is related to frequency, right? On what frequency it will continue? I'll erase this. What frequency it will continue? What is the relation between omega and f? So omega is equal to 2 pi f. Now what I want frequency. F is equal to omega n divided by 2 pi. Simple. Now I have already value is this. Now frequency of the nth orbit of the electron is I have to divide it by 2 pi. I have to divide it by 2 pi. Simple. That is the expression you are going to get. Now again I have velocity, radius, angular frequency. What is next? Next is time period. What is the time taken to complete one rotation? Right? Now what is the expression for time period? How you will relate that time period with the other things like whatever we have studied? Simple. Time period is nothing but total distance traveled by the velocity, because see, actual from where this expression comes, velocity is equal to displacement by time or displacement by time. No, time period means t, that is nothing but displacement by velocity. What do you mean by time period? Time period means the total distance, one distance, one circle it going to cover means what is the distance? That is 2 pi r. 2 pi r distance divided by Vn. For nth orbit means nth orbit you are going to talk. Nth orbit means nth orbit you are going to talk. So now this is the work for you. You have to substitute t is equal to 2 pi Rn and Vn, and you have to find out yourself what is the expression you are going to get. And if you do all those things at the finally by applying the values for all the constant, you are going to get time period of the nth electron is nothing but 1.5 into 10 to the power minus 16 and divided by n cube and into n cube by z, that is seconds. Okay, try to remember this, because most of the questions you may get based on hydrogen spectrum in the case of atom, and for NEET 1 or 2 questions will come from the chapter of nuclear physics. Totally when NEET is concerned, nuclear physics is concerned, that is total atom as well as nuclei, both the chapters you are going to get the questions together. You can't guess the question like atom 2 questions will come and nuclei chapter 3 questions. No, it is not like that. This is the concept of nuclear physics. Both atom and nuclei is together combined and given 2 to 3 questions. In that way it is when the competitive exam is considered. This is one problem, and the formulas related to the time period. Later what? Okay, see, now electron is there, it is revolving in the orbit, the radius is there, it is having its velocity, and angular frequency is there, frequency is there. Next what? When a charge is rotating or charge is moving, you are going to get a current. You are going to get a electric current. What is the expression for electric current? Because of electron moving, I is equal to Q divided by T. Q is the charge, that is E of the electron, and T is nothing but time period. T is nothing but time period. Because of that you are going to get the current. Now time period expression you have, E you have, and if you calculate, and we can directly say that I is directly proportional to Z square mass and divided by n cube of this. This is very important, or directly proportional to this. Again we have studied velocity, radius, current, frequency, angular frequency, the relation of n to this, relation of z. This is important. On what basis z is depends on this, what basis, inversely proportional or directly proportional, square of that, cube of that, like that. This or that you have to remember. So when you write down in a book, you make a formula list of that, and these things you write down somewhere, and don't much concentrate on the synopsis, because more and more means 2 to 3 times need not to see that synopsis. Once or twice is sufficient. More and more you solve the question, you will get understand about the synopsis, because anyway again and again you solve the questions again, that time again you have to go through the formulas or whatever the concept we will discuss here. That's why. So more and more solving of the problems will take you to the nearer or into the depth of the topics or the subject, like that. So take 10 questions each day or 15 questions each day and solve it and find out the answer from each chapter or each of the things. So this is what about the current. Now again, because of the current is there, magnetic field is there, right? When charge is revolving, you will get the magnetic field. What is the expression for magnetic field at the center of the nucleus? See, electron is revolving, magnetic field at the center of the electron in the magnetism, moving charges and magnetism we have studied. That is nothing but expression is mu naught I divided by 2r. But this is not the case here, no. I have to separately substitute, R I have to substitute, that is the radius of that electron, I is the current because of that electron, isn't it? So that magnetic induction because of this, or the magnetic field because of this electron, or maybe the first electron, second electron, whatever, at this point, at the center, on the nucleus is directly proportional to, that is Z cube m square divided by n to the power 5. Okay, so approximation is valid here. Approximately you can find out the values, not exactly. Don't need to by heart all those equations. Kindly don't do that. Okay, just one or two, that velocity and radius if you know means that is sufficient for you. Quickly you start to solve that or practice it, then you are going to get the exact value of that. Now because of the magnetic field, next what you are going to get? Magnetic moment you are going to get. Everything is connected. Radius, velocity, angular frequency, time period, current, then magnetic field and magnetic moment. Now magnetic moment, what is the expression? M we have given, that is I into A. I means what? That is I is current. That is nothing but we have just now studied. A is nothing but pi r square. R square what you have to put? That is the nth radius of that. So that magnetic moment will be this much. This is directly they may ask for a hydrogen atom, electron is revolving in the first orbit or second orbit. What is the magnetic moment generated? All those things. This concept will come in the moving charges also, magnetism matter also, here also. Based on the data which is given, different formulas you are going to get. Based on the data which is given, because of that different formulas you are going to get. So that you have to apply and that you have to study. Simple. So that is what we have studied generally based on velocity, radius concept which is given by Niels Bohr. There is only one assumption he has given, that is three assumptions given. One is angular momentum, quantization of angular momentum, that is very important. And he told that electrons are stationary in the orbit and they are not going to emit any radiation if they are revolving in the stationary orbits. They are not going to emit any radiations if they are moving in the stationary orbits. That is what told by him. So that it will rotate and having the angular momentum, so that it will generate some different formulas, and which made us to the scientists to evolve a new model, that is nothing but quantum mechanical model. And this is the base actually. Based on this, lot of things are explained. Based on this, lot of things are explained. Next, what we are actually studying of Niels Bohr atomic model. It tells about, see, if electron or any body is revolving around any object, means lot of things are connected, velocity, this, that and all. Next, it is having its own energy, right? A positive energy or kinetic energy, all those things. And next, in the class we are going to study about the hydrogen spectrum as well as the energies, maybe kinetic energy, positive so potential energy, and the total energy of that, which is found by Niels Bohr. That was the important thing which is given by Niels Bohr, so that hydrogen spectrum is explained, because no scientist able till date till that to explain that hydrogen spectrum, which was a line spectrum. Because of the mathematical formulas given by Niels Bohr, it explained all those hydrogen spectrum, and that we are going to discuss in our next classes. Thank you very much for watching the class. Thank you.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.